Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
An area of the targeting rule that I was always in favor of was you bumping into somebody in the hallway and that you would then be suspended for the next week.
Week or just half?
Well, no.
Full game?
Week.
Full game?
I'm talking week.
Full game?
No, week. So they have proposed to take away if the targeting happens in the second half of a game that, you can't play the first half of the next game. They're proposing to take away that part, the next game. As usual, the NCAA is reactionary and have no idea. They show no semblance of leadership. Okay? One, why is this coming about? Because Xavier Lucas of Miami was called for targeting in the Fiesta Bowl, which then eliminated him from playing in the first half of the national title game against Indiana. And it was already a banged-up secondary for Miami to begin with. Naturally, and justifiably, Mario Cristobal complained about it. He's going into the national title game, and that doesn't have one of his starters for the first half of the game. So this, on a one-year basis, is being proposed. Now let's give you what leadership looks like. Okay? You aren't throwing anybody out of the game unless it is deemed egregious. You and I both know that 9.5, if not higher, out of 10 targetings just happen to be incidental. Guy lowers his helmet, doesn't quite hit the target area, hits maybe up on a shoulder pad, whatever. Hey, that's fine. Hey. No player should be thrown out unless it is deemed to be flagrant. Guys on the ground, you spear them. Now you're going to get thrown out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time we saw spearing in football?
Oh, no, it's been a while.
Because people know.
Yeah.
People know. If you want to put some more teeth into it, make it a 20-yard penalty.
Yeah.
But don't throw people out, period. I've been against them throwing people out of games for a long time because, number one, nobody knows what the heck targeting is.
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. Yeah, if
it's deemed to be targeted, this is what I would do. Personal foul, 15 yards, targeting attack on another 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Really make it stiff as a penalty. But that's it. Or 15-yard penalty targeting, it's an additional 5. Something. Or 5, 10, pick a number. Not 15, it's too much.
Right.
But 5, 10 more, whatever. And because it's already a personal foul to begin with.
Yep.
Name the last time an offensive player was thrown out of the game for targeting.
That's true.
That's why I said it, Jason.
I know. Name the last time Ohio State safety was thrown out of the game.
This is how we roll with this. Yeah, but a player should not be thrown out. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
Okay? Now, I do like the rule about, hey, personal foul. This is your first one, second one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, because at that point now you crossed the line twice on a personal foul. I'm fine with that. But targeting, you should not be thrown out of the game, period, let alone have to sit out the next game. I'll never forget the ridiculous one was Cam Brown in the Outback Bowl got a targeting penalty in the second half of the game and had to sit out the first half of the opener the next season. Where do we come up with this stuff? And no matter what comes up, Jack Ham and I will look at the replay, and neither one of us now understands what targeting is because officials are all over the lot. I'll never forget the opening game against West Virginia in Morgantown. Linebacker comes in, hits Nick Singleton. I'm talking square right in the helmet. And the two of us are like, well, that's the definition of targeting right there. He's done. They come back. No. It's like, no, he hit him right in the helmet. Right? He lowered himself down and hit him right in the helmet. No. Right? Then there are other ones where they'll say it's targeting. We're like, he hit the shoulder pad. What the? So listening to the broadcast when it comes to this penalty, we can honestly tell you neither one of us is sure what they're looking for and why.
No, and it's I don't think the officials know the definition of targeting the way it's called. It's ridiculous at this point when you look at everything. You see something that you think is clear as day targeting, and look, I am not making excuses for the Ohio State-Penn State game. I am not whatsoever if you're an Ohio State fan listening, but that was targeting. There's no doubt that was targeting by Caleb Downs. Absolutely 1,000% targeting. Not even a doubt. And it wasn't called. Caleb Downs thought he was thrown out of the game. He was relieved when he heard it wasn't.
Right.
That's where you know it's stuff like that where it's just and other ones that aren't targeting, clear as day, are called it. I don't understand. It is where you almost have to put a blatant rule into it, and your rule is intent, launch, lead with the head. Okay, you need a better definition. I don't know how else to explain it at this point because obviously those three things are not clear as day on the targeting calls that I'm seeing.
Players should not be thrown out unless it is egregious.
Unless it's egregious. Yep.
Right? You've launched yourself into somebody. Mm-hmm. You have speared them while they're on the ground. Yeah. Something, right?
Yeah.
That you get thrown out for. But not a personal foul targeting penalty that 9 times out of 10 is always in the gray area. It's just, it's subjective.
In the gray area.
It is subjective.
Yeah. It's almost like a quarterback slide where you're trying to avoid the quarterback, and
it's subjective.
You get him. Yeah, absolutely.
No player should be thrown out. If you want to tack on 10 more yards beyond the 15-yard penalty to give it a little teeth, okay. But the player should stay in the game.
Yeah.
But they also know that they're one more personal foul penalty away from being thrown out.
Yes.
Okay? Because you get 2 of them anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because 2 personal fouls in a game, that means you are crossing the line more than once.
Sure.
Right. And I think that this idea of like, well, they don't have to sit out the first half of the next game if the penalty is in the second half of the previous game. Cut me a break. Okay? Hey, show some leadership. Don't throw anybody out. If you want to put more teeth into the penalty yardage, fine.
Yeah.
But enough is enough of stuff like this. I already had talked about that all these targeting penalties in the second half of a game should be reviewed by the conference office anyway during the week and have them determine, like, hey, wait a minute. Was it more incidental? Yeah. I proposed that a year ago. Now I'm just saying straight out, the heck with it. Knock it off the books. Right? You don't get thrown out of the game. If you want to put some teeth in it and put some additional penalty yardage, into it on top of the 15-yard penalty, we can talk about that, and that's open for discussion.
Right.
But players should not be tossed out for a targeting penalty, and they're sitting there and they're going, and it takes so much time to take a look at it, which I understand because it's a major penalty. You're talking about whether somebody can stay in the game or not.
Yeah.
And every time Jack Ham and I look at it, it's 50-50 if we get it right as to what the officials are thinking. We don't, because it's to the point where we don't know. There are times where we've seen it and said, yep, that's obvious, and we've been right. There have been times where we've seen it and it seemed obvious to us. Nope, not the penalty. Like, what?
Yeah.
There are times where we're like, they're okay on that one. And they're out. You're like, what the heck are we doing here? Okay, you have to show some semblance of leadership.
Sure.
This is, reacting all the time is not leadership.
No.
And that's what the NCAA does. They react. The Lucas situation comes up. It involves a national championship. Let's react. The rule shouldn't have been in there to begin with. It should not have been. I never liked when they put it in. I thought this is ridiculous when they put it in about knocking guys out for the rest of a game, or in the second half they have to not sit out for the first half for the next game. I always thought it was ridiculous.
Sure.
Right? And that's an overreaction where you can put some penalty teeth into it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you now have the rule in of 2 personal fouls and you're out of the game. That's fine. Now we're done. Okay? You are tossed out because that rule's in play. And they'll make the announcement and tell everybody, hey, that's one. Everybody knows that. They hear that. And I think it's ridiculous what they're doing right now with this. And instead of showing some real leadership, they come up with a half measure. Now, they haven't approved it yet. It's proposed. But it's a half measure. Guy's still going to be tossed out of a game? If it's flagrant,
yeah, I agree.
Okay, you should get tossed out of the game. Okay? It's not only a personal foul, but it's unsportsmanlike conduct. You should be tossed. But you and I both know that 9.5 out of 10 are not flagrant. They happen, but they're not flagrant. There's a big difference between, it happened because I missed the target spot a bit too high, and he may have ducked down a little bit to make the target spot smaller.
Yeah.
And an offensive player never gets thrown out for targeting.
No, not at all. And a lot, especially the running back position, you initiate the contact a lot of times.
Well, the NFL for 1 year had the Trent Richardson rule, where if you lower your helmet going in and lead with your helmet contact, the offensive player would get it. Nobody ever got penalized for it. They took the rule out. It was called the Trent Richardson rule. So that was proposed, another reactionary move. Instead of showing some leadership and saying, hey, wait a minute, we think this has gone too far.
Yep.
The penalty is too harsh. 2 personal fouls, you're out of the game. But we'll take 15 yards for the personal foul, and let's discuss if it's deemed to be targeting, do we tack on another 10? And then go from there. But don't throw the player out unless it is flagrant and deemed to be flagrant.
I agree.
All this throwing players out, sitting out, just knock it off, okay? You're not good at calling the penalty to begin with. And it's one less responsibility for the officials to take care of. Because it's got to be a major decision to throw a guy out of the game. I mean, it's got to be a big deal to them, and it's got to be a difficult decision for them to throw a guy out, especially the second half. And trying to think, Penn State played Ohio State, early November? Late October last year.
November 1st, I think, or somewhere around there.
November 1.
Yep.
I don't know who their next game was.
Penn State's next, Ohio State's or Penn State?
Ohio State's next game. I don't know who it was, but it could have been Purdue. I think it might have been Purdue. Was it? No, Purdue was the week before Penn State.
I think of who.
He's looking it up.
They had an off game before. They both had an off week before.
Okay.
They played each other. I do remember that. I'm trying to think of who they played. No. They played before. They had. It was Purdue afterwards. Yep, November 8th was the Purdue game, 134-10.
You act like I never know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you got it right. I don't
understand that. I don't understand what way.
On the road, yep. Yeah. I remember they both had an off week going into the week.
Is it a big deal based on personnel versus personnel that Caleb Downs doesn't play the first half of the Purdue game? In reality, probably not. No. Right? But say, what if he gets the penalty in the second half of the game right before Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to start showing more common sense leadership and not reacting all the time. Stop reacting. Okay? Lead.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an organization more in the fetal position than the NCAA.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And that's...
I mean, where do they lead? I don't know where they lead.
They don't lead. No, they don't lead. They hope somebody else does. They kind of wait and wait.
They hope somebody else solves the problem for them. That's why I keep talking about you can't... Okay, look, I realize Charlie Baker, the former governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, is running the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So far, there have been no major accomplishments and no major faux pas.
No major issues, yeah.
Right. But the bottom line is that he has spent a lot of time going to Congress basically saying, bail us out of our problems.
Yeah.
Instead of convening a group and saying, hey, we're going to solve this ourselves. I'll keep going to Congress. I'm going to keep going to Congress, but we're going to solve this ourselves too. How far can we get here?
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, there's no attempt to solve problems.
There's certainly not an attempt to solve the big problems. There's no doubt about that. The big problems that had no stability to begin with, and they don't right now, several years later.
Yeah. So that's what they're proposing. You get thrown out of the game, and if it's in the second half, you don't have to miss the first half of the next game. People say, well, that's a step. No. I don't want steps. Okay,
Yeah.
Lead. Do the right thing. Nobody gets thrown out of games unless it's a flagrant foul. Okay? You sit there and like guys on the ground and you spear him with your helmet right in his back, you are out of the game. You're done. Okay? That's flagrant.
Hey, you launch and go right at somebody's head delivered, and that's flagrant. That's enough to, if it's clear as day, that's enough to be thrown out of a game.
You know? I mean, it's something you have to determine at that point. But a guy for a targeting call where they're like going back and forth, did he hit him here? Did he hit
Takes
him
4 minutes to review it. Right? That tells you something.
The guy doesn't get thrown out. Tack on some additional yardage on top of the 15-yard penalty. Whether, I'm compromising at 10. That makes it a 25-yard penalty. Okay. Something like that. But stop with this nonsense of throwing people out. It's nonsense. If they get a second personal foul, because that would be their first.
Yeah.
Or if it turns out that is their second personal foul of the game, then they're done. They're gone.
Sure.
Okay? That already is a rule. Follow it. I have no problem with that rule at all. I mean, 2 personal fouls in a game means you're not playing the game right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Targeting penalty. Stop throwing people out. The part that always, when they first put this out, they do what would be referred to as the football version of the perp walk. He's leaving the stadium. He's got to go to the tunnel. He's being taken by the strength and conditioning coach. And
yes, he's walking around first. They're on the sideline for about 5 plays until they say you got to go, and then he goes.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Then it was like a big compromise that they were allowed to stay on the sideline. Okay. Just stop the nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop it.
Yeah.
Again, stop reacting and start leading. Your job is to lead.
They won't. They won't.
Hey,
they rely on they hope other people are going to take their leadership from them, and then they get the credit for it.
Right. Just look around and say, okay, you know what? This is nonsense.
Yeah.
You don't get tossed out of the game.
Yeah.
Period. Unless it's your second personal foul or it's flagrant.
Yeah.
Simple as that. That's the rule change that you make. Right? You don't sit there and do half measures.
No.
Half measures are not needed here. And I realize that they're trying to promote the safety of the game. Well, you got the rule in there to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who gets thrown out of NFL games? A couple guys?
See a couple.
Fights through a punch.
And that's exactly. Blatantly says through a punch.
Yep.
That tells you right there, okay, through a punch, you're gone. Right. There's the blueprint you're looking for college football. What is targeting? What's going to tell me that gets him thrown out clear as day? Right. Throwing a punch is clear as day.
Yep, exactly.
That's where that right there is an example of leadership and non-leadership. Yeah. Some of the commissioners that are unpopular and were unpopular, some of the ones that are no longer with us, are because they made rules and enforced those rules, whether they were popular or not, whether they were great or not so great rules, they enforced them. Mm-hmm. Roger Goodell enforces them. David Stern certainly enforced rules. Mm. Bud Selig, at times, very unpopular doing them, they enforced rules. Mm-hmm. That's the difference right there between leadership and non-leadership.
Right. And my advice to Charlie Baker is, okay, keep going to Congress and go into your own building and say, look,
let's figure this out.
I want the best minds in here.
Absolutely.
I want Mike Krzyzewski in here.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in Nick Saban. Bring in a bunch of people that have worked this, Barry Alvarez and so forth, and say, let's work out what's the best way for us to deal with NIL. What is the best way for us to deal with cap issues? What's the best way for us to put together a collective bargaining agreement? Right? Sit down and bring in the NBA, one of the NBA leaders. Bring in one of the NFL leaders. How do we do a collective bargaining agreement?
Sure.
Let's find an entity because now the next part's going to be, do the players want that? Because they've got all the freedom in the world. And we got Brendan Sorsby signing a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
And allegedly there's a buyout in it. And he goes to Texas Tech and he says, I'm not paying the buyout. Buyout's $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what the language is in the contract. I don't know. But there also has to be, the NCAA, I think, has to come out with what standard language is in a contract. And then whatever clauses you want to add in and so forth. But you have to be able to work out length of contracts, compensation.
Yep, I agree.
The medical part has to be worked out. The cap number has to be worked out, specific to the sport. What are the rules if you violate the cap number?
Yep.
Okay. Are you allowed to do contracts where there's deferred money? To this point, I haven't heard of any college contracts that have deferred money, but that doesn't mean it's not.
It doesn't mean it's coming. It could come. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you allowed to do it under the rules? All these things that they need to sit down and work out and talk to the NFL people. Bring them in. Bring in the NBA people. Mm-hmm. Let us know what we're dealing with, how we're dealing with, right? And what you see from the union side and so forth. And as a management group, what we should be looking to put into these deals to make it right. Because right now you have a free agent mess. You have Darian Mensah going to Miami after signing a 2-year deal with Duke. Well, he got money from Duke that he never dreamed of getting when he was at Tulane.
Absolutely.
Brendan Sorsby got money from Cincinnati that he never dreamed of getting in Indiana.
You're right.
Sorsby did play against Penn State when he was in Indiana, by the way. He played against Penn State. Didn't play well, but he did play. He was a young quarterback at the time. And he goes to Texas Tech for allegedly $4 to $6 million. Then you got Damon Williams, the quarterback at Washington. Who, I'm coming back, signs a contract, and then puts himself into the portal because the rumors were running rampant that Ole Miss really was looking at him. Okay. Is that tampering? Or I'm sorry, my apologies, LSU. It was LSU because I'm thinking of Lane Kiffin. It's LSU. Was allegedly talking to him. Well, isn't that tampering? He's under contract. Right? And then he had to be reminded that he has a contract because Washington was not going to back off. Duke finally worked out a settlement and backed off with Mensah. Sorsby, we don't know what's going to happen because the time for the $1 million payment has come and gone, and his agent says they are not paying it. And this is the mess that you're in right now in college sports because you don't have effective leadership where the money, the NCAA, has not caught up at all with the money issue.
Right. Not at all. Not close.
I mean, they are so far behind on the money issue, it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of the ability to lead because of it.
Yeah, because of it. Yeah, and stabilize it. Yep, absolutely.
The Combine. Good day for Zane Durant. Good day for Tyler Duzansky. Good day for Denai Dennis Sutton. Denai ran a 4.64 yesterday. Zane ran, I think, 4.75. And believe it or not, that's not his fastest time. He actually ran a slightly faster time here at Penn State. And supposedly, Duzansky was there, and he had a terrific day of snapping the ball and so forth because, I mean, his times are going to be excellent. I mean, this is Chris Stoll 2.0. And Chris, of course, just won a Super Bowl ring with the Seattle Seahawks with all those perfect snaps that he made, including 5 perfect field goal snaps in the Super Bowl. So a good day yesterday for Zane Durant and Denai Dennis Sutton in Indianapolis, and also for Tyler Duzansky, who had a good day as well. The Steelers did meet with Drew Aller yesterday. So they did do that. That's part of this, and that's one of the reasons.
Absolutely.
Denai's number, by the way, was 4.63, which is just terrific. And came in at 6'6", 256 pounds. So that's about 4 pounds under what I thought it was going to be. I thought he'd be about 260. So 256 close. Zane was 290, 291. That was always Zane's big problem in his early years here. Some go, wow, his big problem is his weight. And people, of course, will think, well, yeah, he's overweight. No. His problem was keeping weight on. I mean, they had to work very hard for him to keep weight on. And now he's finally been able to do it. That's why he's about 290, 291 right now. And he came in at 290. And so it was a good day for both of them yesterday. They did really, really well. By the way, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles both came out and kind of had everybody go, whoa. But I'm not surprised.
No, I'm not either.
And they're both in the 242 range, somewhere around there. That's what they played at Ohio State. And, it's not as if Jack and I didn't talk about those two guys going into the Ohio State game, about how good they are.
Yeah.
Because they are. And Reese, in all likelihood, is the second overall pick in the draft.
Top 5 at the worst. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't do anything yesterday to hurt that stock. And had a great day yesterday. Okay, Scott Docterman wrote an article yesterday in The Athletic. And it was about Big Ten finances. It was interesting because he outlined it again as to what the Big Ten has been doing. And Big Ten revenue, we'll have to find out in May what it is. Last year was $928 million. Very, very close, by the way, to your portfolio.
Not far from it.
Don't brag. Just don't brag.
Not far from it, I'll tell you.
Don't brag.
Grew up in the same town as the founder of Yingling, though. It's hard to be on Forbes' list.
So here are the numbers. And look, again, this is a reality check.
Yes.
You try to give people a reality. It's hard to make money in college athletics. You need to have a lot of balls fall into place to do it. Rutgers, we've already outlined the Rutgers issue. And Scott Docterman does a brilliant job of outlining everybody's issues in all this. Rutgers reported $190.5 million in losses, $328.4 million. They received, though, $328.4 million in student fees and direct support from the state of New Jersey, and also from the university. If you take away that income, that tells you the Rutgers actually lost $518.9 million. Really? Over this period of time. Their revenues are actually at a record. They brought in $146.6 million in revenue last year at Rutgers. But they spent, like you, often compared in the radio station as a drunken sailor, right? They spent $193.8 million. Okay. In the first five seasons, Rutgers' revenue and expenses were fairly modest, but this decade, its annual deficits have soared. Same story for Maryland. Okay? Because both Rutgers and Maryland borrowed against future Big Ten media earnings. And Maryland, which has borrowed more than $125 million over its period as a non-vested league member, they should be finally caught up where they're not paying money back to the Big Ten in 2 years. Okay? Fiscal year 2027. Well, it's 2026. I'm talking about fiscal years. In other words, we're talking about the 25 numbers now. Next year, no. Then the year after, yes. The league is budgeted to disperse about $82 million to each of its fully vested programs this year. UCLA, in its final Pac-12 season, UCLA received less than $20 million from that league's media rights package. In its first year in the Big Ten, they got $61.3 million. Okay? They are fully vested. Now, Nebraska, Rutgers, and Maryland all had to wait 6 years, and in year 7 were eligible to be fully vested. Nebraska was, when they got to year 7, there was no payback by them. They were all set. Washington and Oregon get half shares until the next media rights package in 2030. Martin Jarman, the athletic director at UCLA, said just being in the Big Ten and having the revenues, it just helps you compete at the level we expect to compete at. But they're still in the red. It reported a $21.6 million deficit for fiscal year 2025. Now, that is down from the $51.9 million they lost in 2024. But UCLA has compiled and reported $222.2 million in athletics losses over the past 6 years. Now, keep in mind that 16 of the Big Ten schools report this to the Department of Education. 2 that do not are Northwestern and USC. They are both private schools. UCLA is 4th from the bottom in athletic revenue at $151.8 million. It did take in $31.6 million in student fees. Not sure if they put in that they have to give Cal money. Okay, let's get to where the gap is occurring. The gap is occurring between, there's 3. It is Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. The gap between Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State is very large till you get to number 4. Ohio State had 2 extra home games during its championship season in 2024. Because remember, was it, 2023? They only played 6 home games. So they had 7 in the regular season plus the Tennessee game. $67 million in ticket revenue. Number 2 to Michigan, which had $67.6 million. Penn State was 3rd, $44.3 million. But then the drop really happens. Nebraska, $31.1. Oregon, $30.5. Washington, $26.7. Wisconsin, $25.8. Iowa, $24.5. Wait, where's Indiana? Michigan State, $17.9. Illinois, $15, which, by the way, is a big increase for that. That's almost double. Purdue, $13.8. Then Indiana, finally at $12.7. At $12.7 million in ticket revenue, which is slightly less than the current yearly contract of Kurt Signetti. Then it's Minnesota 11.6, UCLA 10.4, Rutgers 9.2, and Maryland. Maryland's only averaged about 30 to 32,000 fans per game. They only brought in $5 million in football ticket revenue. Nebraska's ticket income did come back. Washington's gate revenue fell by $4.3 million in its first season in the Big Ten, but Oregon's went up by $5 million. Illinois made the sizable gain, $7 million in 2022, now over $15 million in 2025. Expect Indiana's ticket number to go up. They sold out every game this year. They sold out every game this year, to their credit. Maryland collected, as I mentioned, $5 million for football tickets. Their lowest total since 2012, when they were still a member of the ACC. Men's basketball tickets. Indiana, number 1, $15.2 million. Illinois, Elite 8 run, had a $4.9 million leap in men's basketball gate revenue up to $14.2. Michigan State, $9.4 million. Purdue, $8.7 million. Those are the top 4. 7 schools saw slight decreases in men's hoop ticket revenue. UCLA slid for a second straight year. Penn State was last at $1.7 million in ticket revenue. Okay. How many non-football and basketball programs in the Big Ten make money? The number is not 0. How many?
Non-football and non-basketball. If it's not 0, it's got to be 1 then.
It is 1.
Okay.
It was 2 the year before. So the one that made money was Minnesota men's ice hockey.
Okay.
Second straight year they've made money. They cleared $2.75 million. They reported $9.72 million in revenue, including $3.92 million in ticket sales. That was not only the highest outside of the Big Two sports, but also topped the gate revenue of 5 public schools in men's basketball. The other program in 2024 that made money was Nebraska women's volleyball. Not the case this year. A $1.4 million deficit for Nebraska women's volleyball. Now, their ticket sales were strong. They had $3.2 million. They earned $5.6 million, but they spent $7 million. So, and then there is the Iowa basketball situation. Iowa women's basketball, fresh off the Caitlin Clark era, sold out every game in 24-25. They earned $2.4 million in ticket sales. In Caitlin Clark's senior season, they had $3.5 million in ticket sales. But in Caitlin Clark's final season, where everything was right, this tells you, like all the tumblers, right, all came up, bing, 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 right? Couldn't have been any better for any program unless you're Penn State wrestling. All right? Superstar, dynamic, fun team, winning. And Caitlin Clark's senior season, they lost $3.4 million. Last year, Iowa women's basketball lost $3.7 million. And they sold out every game. The men's basketball program didn't do anywhere near as well. Ticket revenue dropped $2.8 million. The women's team actually generated more in parking and concessions, $512,000 to $440,000. They had to pay $2.2 million to Fran McCaffrey to say thanks for the memories. Yet, the men's basketball program made $3.4 million. The women's program lost $3.7. That's because the Big Ten media rights contract, where $6.3 million was allocated to men's basketball. Oh, that's not fair. The women are on TV too. Okay. Let's understand how it works. Fox buys the rights to football and men's basketball. CBS buys the rights to football and a men's basketball package. NBC buys the rights, whether it's NBC or Peacock, for football and men's basketball. That's what they buy. Just because programs are on BTN or once in a great while might make a Fox broadcast, which in Caitlin Clark's senior year, they were on Fox a couple of times, right? No, that's not what they bought. They bought football and men's basketball. Okay, well, I see it on BTN. Okay, on BTN, it's a football and men's basketball package that has been put together. And you have a lot of space to fill, so they make sure you see plenty of ice hockey, you see plenty of wrestling, and so forth. There is not a separate women's basketball package, so it's not there. Now, guess what actually helped Iowa women's basketball from not losing more money? What helped them and kept them from losing more money?
Other sports?
Nope. Not making the NCAA women's basketball tournament.
Makes sense.
Right. How many times have you heard me say, believe it or not, in the women's basketball tournament, the further you advance, the more money you lose? I've said that many times. People go, oh, that's not true. It's like you know how many days like I feel like I'm talking, well, you're kind of the equivalent. Talking to the wall.
Yeah.
Like you try to tell people this, they look at, oh, that's not true. I'm like, Okay. I know you're busy, but okay. NCAA tournament distribution. Iowa men, $1.6 million. How much did the Iowa women get as their NCAA tournament distribution? Because everybody gets something. $81,000.
I was going to say $100,000. I would have been close.
You would have been close. But unfortunately, on The Price is Right, you're too high.
I would have been over. Yeah.
You're over. So, all right. It just tells you how difficult this is. I believe the NCAA distribution for wrestling last year, if I read the line right, I think it was $16,000. The highest I ever saw it was $48,000. Because I take the time to read this stuff. I mean, this is how hard it is to make money in athletics. That's why if you're seeing, like, why are they throwing all the money into football? Why are they throwing it into men's basketball? Because guess what? You're trying to keep everybody else alive. Because those are the programs that have the potential for profit, which then can be distributed to other people. Football recruiting. 16 public schools spent $30.1 million on football recruiting. Washington had the biggest cut. They cut about $740,000. Nebraska's football recruiting number went down $530,000, and Penn State's recruiting in football went down by about $430,000. Michigan spent $3.5 million on its recruiting operation, nearly doubling the total of the previous year. UCLA was actually second, $2.4 million. They increased their recruiting by $990,000. Right, but I mentioned the three that fell back a bit. What does travel mean with the West Coast schools? You can't include USC here. They don't report. They don't have to report, and oddly enough, don't. I don't have to do it. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Travel costs actually went down considerably for most of the Big Ten schools, though 5 of the 7 whose travel costs did not decrease are located on the coasts. So let's get in. Guess who had the biggest savings? Iowa, $3.31 million, but has nothing to do with the West Coast. The women's basketball team did not make the NCAA tournament. Okay? And they didn't have to go anywhere. So you don't have to pay for it. Okay? The men's basketball program didn't make postseason either, so didn't need to travel. Wisconsin actually trimmed $2.47 million in their travel spending because it took chartered buses for football games at Northwestern and Iowa, and they did not qualify for a bowl game. And believe me, when you qualify for a bowl game, everybody goes. You do lose money on bowl games.
Sure.
All right, you do. Now, with the new college football playoff number of $21 million, I'm not so sure you're going to lose money on. Okay, that should really help with the big kick there. But they bust. Like Penn State buses to Maryland when they play them, and they bust to Rutgers when they play them. Sure. They do the same thing in basketball. Right? They bus. So what about the West Coast schools? Oregon, Washington, and UCLA spent an average of $2.95 million more on travel. Maryland, Rutgers averaged travel increases of $615,000. Michigan State and Nebraska also reported higher travel costs. Penn State's not in that category. So Rutgers and Maryland had to tack on an average of $615,000 more for the travel. Oregon, Washington, and UCLA spent an average of $2.95 million apiece on travel in their first Big Ten seasons. You're also seeing in travel this year, and Penn State's not alone. Michigan's doing this. Penn State's doing this, where instead of having maybe a 48-seat charter, they're doing 30. Smaller charter, less money. Michigan's also doing it. It's not just Penn State. I don't know how other people are doing it, but I know for a fact in talking to other people that Michigan's been doing it. They're like, how could Michigan do it? I mean, Michigan's rolling in cash. No, I mean, look, you have to be smart about what you're doing here. Indiana, second straight year, they had to borrow from the university to pay for a major coaching change. They had to pay for Mike Woodson's buyout and had to pay for Tom Allen's buyout. Of course, Penn State has the renovation at the stadium. To me, that's a separate line. There are 4 programs that paid their coaching staffs more than $20 million. Oregon, this is in football. Football coaching staffs more than $20 million. Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. Guess who was number 4? Let's see if you can get this one.
It's not going to be Michigan then.
No, Michigan fell from 20.4 million to 17 million. So they ranked 9th among the public schools.
This include paying coaches they fired?
No.
Okay, I was going to say that would put UCLA up there pretty high.
No. There are 4 schools that paid more than $20 million. By the way, that number for Penn State's going to, there'll be buyouts in there next year, but the overall staff number is not going to be over $20 million now.
Paying more than $20 million.
Okay, it's Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State.
I was going to say Michigan State or...
Who's the 4th? And the number is $20.99 million.
Okay, so Michigan State and UCLA, no, since they're not counting the other coaches they're still paying. Well, Nebraska's not really paying assistants.
Yeah.
Washington, no.
Okay, so far so good.
Got to be maybe USC.
Private school.
Oh, private school. So they're not. Yeah, you're right.
Private school not reporting. Same thing with Northwestern.
So it's not Northwestern.
You have to eliminate them.
Can't be Rutgers, can it?
It is Rutgers. $20.99 million for the Rutgers football coaching staff.
All I was thinking of was high. But I'm going down the list of high-profile coaches here, and
in a program that is hemorrhaging money. And here's the issue that they have at Rutgers. They have a lot of issues. Okay, they have a lot, but one is their stadium, which is old.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But it doesn't have a single luxury suite in it. They have none. So, in other words, you can't generate additional revenue by putting in, let's pick a number, 60 luxury suites. Of course, you have to sell them, but you're not getting additional revenue from that. All right, now it's okay. And that means they're going to have to spend more money to get it. And that becomes the vicious circle. Now let's go to their basketball arena. They sell out every game for men's basketball, 8,000 every game. And that's all they can get out of it because that arena is not expandable to put luxury suites in it. They'd have to build a new arena. Where are they going to get the money for that? Where? It's a vicious circle. And they have themselves in a vicious circle right now. But this tells you over and over and over again how difficult it is and how many pieces of the puzzle have to fall into place to turn a profit in college sports. Fans see a sellout at Rutgers basketball, but they can't maximize their money, no suites. They see sellouts in some women's volleyball matches, but they're all losing money. They see sellouts at Penn State for wrestling, single best program in the country, but on paper, university paper, expenses versus revenue, right? I mean, you're talking, what, 1.7 million, 4.1 million total over the last 2 years. That's impossible. No, it's very possible. It's very possible. With everything UCLA is doing, they lost $20 million as an athletic department. And they're getting a full media share. They're getting a full media share. And their travel expenses are right in the neighborhood of an additional $3 million. So they're not that's bad enough, but it's not. I think people expected it to be about $10 million for travel for all their teams. No. That's not just football, basketball travel. That's everybody travel. Hey, the gymnastics team travels, the softball team travels. You know. I know they don't report here, but USC baseball played here last year.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to do. But Scott Dochterman of The Athletic, who does a great job with this, broke it all down. And why do we do that? Why does he do that? Why do I then take his reporting and utilize it on the show? Because it's just telling you, in this world of college sports, it's hard to make money unless you sit there and you go back to the days of, hey, the softball teams, they're not going to do this, right? Hey, we're going to play Muhlenberg or Sinus, and we're going to travel by bus, and it's not how it works anymore. It doesn't work that way. I think women's gymnastics has a big duel coming in this weekend. They have Washington, Nebraska, and Michigan Saturday at 6. They just came back from, I think, LSU. Well, they go to Charlotte, and they're going to fly back in here, and because of the snowstorm, flight got canceled. They had to bus the rest of the way from Charlotte. And it's not easy. Meanwhile, you're living off all the free gear they give out.
That's right.
And all the bobbleheads you get for free.
That helps too.
Well, I hope you have a great weekend.
Likewise.
Basketball
Absolutely.
Tomorrow at noon.
Yeah.
AHA semifinals tonight. Tessa Janicki and the women's ice hockey team. Tessa, the first ever athlete at Penn State to win a Winter Olympics gold medal, leading her team against Syracuse. Best of 3. Today, tomorrow, and if necessary, Sunday. Women's gymnastics, big weekend.
Huge. Yeah.
Tomorrow at 6. Nebraska, Michigan, Washington. And men's basketball tomorrow with Iowa. The Sturts kid, you know how many minutes the Sturts kid has missed this season? He has played all but 36 minutes this season.
Wow.
You know what the key? When he's talked about recovery, he talks about the importance of cherry juice. That's what he talks about. Cherry juice all the time. We've got a gallon for it out there for you right now.
That's right.
Because you look like you're gassed.
That's right.
All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Tomorrow's game is at noon, by the way.